So, some of my friends picked me up last night around, well, it was around 12:30 or so, and we went to Morocco. Last night, I saw a little girl on the street corner in Morocco. She looked like she was about 7 to 8 years of age. Beautiful blue eyes. I don't know what her story was. And this little girl looked like she hadn't eaten in at least a couple days. And she was waiting for someone to pass by her. She was sitting out on the corner of the street, kind of wedged up near a sign, like a lean-to sign. It was a big wood. It might have been made of plywood. It could have been a cardboard. It was just a big sign leaning against the building, and she was squatted in there, huddled up, waiting for someone to come out of the store to throw away, I guess, food items, because she kept looking in the trash can across the other side of the building. And she had 2 trash cans on her side of the building. I'm sure she could see people throw things away in there. So this little girl is no more than 8 years old, and she's scavenging food out of garbage cans. As I'm sitting watching this, I'm sitting in the Starship. Well, not really sitting in the Starship. I'm more hovering in the Starship. And I found myself questioning them, why are we watching this? I don't want to see this. This is not what I came to Morocco for. I wanted to see festivities, lights. I wanted, to see the sights and take everything in. And I was told that the reason why I was taken to Morocco was to learn a lesson. To learn a lesson about miracles. And what is a miracle? And do they exist? And if so, who performs them? And what is a miracle? Well, the answer to that last question, everything. Everything is a miracle. He sat and watched this little girl for upwards of 3.5 hours, just hovering there above the city. We were partially shaded by some cloud, but we were observing. We were in the tower. And then I started to get really, really, really sad. This girl isn't catching any luck at all. She's not getting a single, nobody's looking at her. It's like they don't even see her there. And I actually started to ask myself, is she really there? Or are they just fucking with me? I mean, they could do something like that if they wanted to teach me a lesson bad enough. That's how unreal it seemed. That this little girl was sitting there and nobody did anything at all. And I really wanted to go. I was getting uncomfortable, As soon as I wanted to go, I turned to look at my friend. And he looks me square in the eye. And he says, "You haven't dealt with the destruction yet." I looked back. And I looked hard, deep into the mind of that little girl. And I loved that little girl. I didn't want to see her. I didn't want to see her out and begging for food and receiving nothing. And about that, I started using my observation and my consciousness to change her reality. The destruction, the transfer of energy. I give my energy for her good energy, and I give it unselfishly, because I want to see the little girl eat. This little girl finds money on the ground, 2.5 feet from her, 2.5, 3 feet. It's right there. It had been there the whole. She didn't notice it. She didn't. It's almost as if it didn't exist in her reality until I loved her enough to where my sympathy affected her reality. And that it was the lesson. That was the lesson. Miracles occur every day. Don't you ever listen to anyone who says miracles don't happen? And don't you ever listen to anyone who says miracles can only happen through God. Those are cop-out answers. And those are from ignorant people who don't want to realize the full scope of the situation. Otherwise, it's clear as day. If you find $10 on the ground and you didn't have any money to buy your dinner, if you can't pay your rent, if you can't pay your mortgage, and you come into some money all of a sudden out of nowhere, or if you're in a less developed country and you don't know how you're gonna eat, you have no idea how you're gonna provide for your family, and then someone comes in with bags, just loads, tons of free corn seed, oat seed. I mean, what is that? If not to an individual's perspective as being a miracle out of nowhere. But that's because, you know what, finding $5 on the sidewalk isn't a miracle unless you need $5. I mean, come on. I feel happy with my journey last night. It wasn't exactly how I thought it would be. But I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see that little girl. I was promised I could check up on her to make sure she's doing okay. So I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna see how I influenced her. And if I didn't influence her the way that I want, I'm gonna influence her again. Because I care about that little girl. And I don't want anything bad to happen to her. So, love your neighbor. That's it. Be someone's miracle. You have to be someone's miracle. My friends are here right now. I don't know if you can see the camera. It's a shitty camera. And the clouds just moved in. Oh well, no worries. I will see them later. Because I was told that I have more lessons to undergo. I swear to God, I have more lessons that I have to undergo. And you see. Military planes. Military helicopters outside my house all the time. Black helicopters. I think I'm being watched. Yes, and those military heads in Georgia who have been watching my channel, I appreciate it. The only thing I would rather you do is just stop watching the channels and start doing something the fuck about it. Otherwise, when this shit hits the fan, I'm telling you, you can't keep this stuff concealed forever, and you can't keep it covered up forever. The only thing you're doing is making it worse on yourself when shit hits the fan. You're gonna have absolutely none, zero bargaining chips. No mercy factor.